$180,450 last month with my sales agency using a framework called the connector. Saad, what is a connector? Well, it's basically bringing two parties together who need each other but haven't found each other yet. From one side, businesses that need customers, other side, potential customers who need that business. So you're the bridge. Now, you might be thinking, Saad, what's the difference between automation agencies, lead gen agencies, and connector sales agencies? Well, the difference is quite simple. If you think about it, usually when someone says, I run an automation agency, well, they're freelancers. Let's just be real. They sell their time. They build stuff, 3K project done and next. Then there's lead gen agencies, basically vendors, commodity services. They sell services, fulfill deliverables, deal with operations. Now, connectors, on the other hand, they sell outcomes. You're not managing anyone. You're not buying infrastructure for clients. You provide premium services and you're making introductions happen at scale. That's why I made $181K last month with 89% margins. So today I'm breaking down this framework so you can implement it directly into your business, because commodity services probably aren't going to exist in 2026 and beyond. So let's get into it. So how does this actually work? Let me give you the general outline. So there's 4 steps. Step 1, you find businesses that need more customers. Step 2, you build a system that generates intros. Step 3, you don't just hand them the system and leave. Step 4, you charge for the outcome, not the system. So let's talk about step 1, which is you find businesses that need more customers. Well, not hard. Very simple. Every business needs customers. And you've probably heard this from me or another creator probably a million times already. Every business needs customers. No customers, no business. Step 2 is you build a system that generates the intros, which is basically a sales system that automates lead gen, facilitates introductions between two parties together, usually two decision makers that might be or potentially would want to work together. For example, if you're connecting a recruitment agency to companies that are hiring, you'll build a system that can facilitate an intro of a founder of like a recruitment agency on a call with the hiring manager or like VP or HR of a company hiring. If you're connecting a SaaS company to a potential enterprise client, you'll be building a system that connects the SaaS COO on a call with the CTO or department head, for example. So your job is being the matchmaker who finds the right people and creates the condition for them to meet, all using automation, which is the beauty about automating lead generation. And by the way, you're not selling for them. I should probably put like a giant label on this. You're not selling for them. You're not managing the relationship after. You're just making the introduction happen. Okay? And I'm trying to think of an example. It's like being the friend who introduces two people at a party because you know they'd get along perfectly, except you're doing it systematically for businesses that need each other. That's why this works at scale. So you're not doing custom work for each client. Now, let's talk about step 3. So you don't just hand them the system and leave. You're going to be responsible for the outcome. You're the connector. You make sure those introductions happen every month. Okay? What happens with automation agencies, and I was an automation agency before, is you can't just upsell people. And usually you build something, hand it to them and leave. Maybe you sprinkle some maintenance here and there, but for the most part, you say just good luck, and you don't want to do that. I want you guys to be profitable. Like, clients need to renew with you every month. Well, I shouldn't say they need, because you can't just force someone to renew, but they need to see enough value to stay and stick around, right? So as a connector, you're not just selling a one-time deliverable, you're selling ongoing results. Your clients doesn't really care, like they don't really care how you do it. They just care about the result. So every month, your system delivers actual introductions, real people. This is why you can charge premium prices. Instead of competing with cheap agencies on price, you're competing on outcomes. So if you compare that to like a 1K automation project versus like a 10K monthly retainer, well, that's a lot of money, right? That's actually a lot of money. It's like a money glitch. And when I went deep into this, it's when you get those crazy Stripe notification. You'll be having lunch and there's like this new 10K coming. Trust me, once you have that, you can never go back. Okay, so step 4, you charge for the outcome, not the system. What does that mean? Well, for example, I charge 8K for like a couple intros. You want to pick a number, usually something like 3 to 4 high quality. And clients pay for the result, not the infrastructure, because they sort of like just don't care, especially those high ticket ones. They just want the outcome, okay? And here's the beautiful part. Once you build the system once, you can deploy it. Well, I shouldn't say deploy it. You can use it. That's a fancy word. You can use it for multiple clients. Same infrastructure, same tools. Now, this is where it gets interesting. You're using your own infrastructure for everything, and it creates this self-feeding flywheel, okay? And I'm going to explain the psychology behind it and why it's profitable. See, every new client you add makes your system more valuable, not less. Think about it. When you have 5 recruitment agencies as clients, you're not just building 5 separate contact lists. You're building one massive database of companies that hire. Let me just give you like an example, okay? So for example, we have agency A, all right, agency B, and agency C. So agency A needs companies hiring salespeople, okay? Agency B needs companies hiring engineers. Agency C needs companies hiring marketing people. But guess what? The same companies often need all these roles, so your research for agency A actually benefits agency B and also C. So your infrastructure becomes this massive intelligence network. The more clients you have, the more data you're collecting, the better your targeting gets, the higher your success rates become. And here's the kicker. Your costs stay flat while your knowledge compounds. Whether you're running it for 1 client or 10 clients, you're still paying the same monthly fee for the tools. Apollo, Epify, whatever. The same domain costs, the same email tools. But now you're charging $8K per client for outcomes that cost you maybe $500 to deliver. That's how I hit 89% margins last month. The system gets more profitable with every client, not less. Now, I had to cap it at 6 because I want to focus on doing great work for my clients. And to be fair, more money isn't just gonna like make my life better. I'd rather focus on health and fix all those nights with no sleep, heavily caffeinated when I was scaling this business model. So it's like having, like I said, it's like having a factory where we're adding more customers, makes your production costs go down instead of going up. Pure economics magic. Another thing, since you're not buying infrastructure for clients, you use your own infrastructure for everything. This means you're not dealing with the nightmare that most agencies face. Think about it. Traditional agencies, right? For example, client A wants their own domains, their own email accounts, their own automation tool like na10make.com. Client B wants different tools again, different setup. Client C has specific requirements that don't even match anyone else's. So before you know it, you're managing 50 logins, paying for 12 different software subscriptions, dealing with like separate billings for each client, creating a separate credit card for every client to manage your money, trying to remember like which automation belongs to which client. You have to buy separate domains with the name of like the client, the name of the company. Now with the connector is by default a connector. They use their own because like I said earlier, you're what? You're a middleman. So client A gets results through your system. Client B gets the results through the same system. And also client C gets the same results through the same system. So you're not customizing infrastructure, you're customizing targeting and also messaging. Plus, when everything runs through your systems, you control the data. You own the relationships with the tools. If a client ever becomes difficult, you don't have to hand over infrastructure you've built with your time and money. It's the difference between being a service provider and a connector running a sales systems agency. So that's why it's scale and why it creates this beautiful scale effect. And by the way, this term scale effect has been mentioned in this book called Blitz Scaling from the founder of LinkedIn. Highly recommend you guys read it. I took many ideas and I used it on my internet business. So in this book, they talk about network effects. In Blitz Scaling, the more users you add, the more valuable the platform becomes for everyone. Think Facebook. Every new person who joins makes the platform more valuable for existing users because there are more people to connect with. So the connection model has the same effect. I took it exactly from that book, right? So it has the same effect, but for B2B introductions. You will notice that I take the simple big ideas from like billion-dollar businesses and apply them to my business, which is, by the way, a great mental model. Just copy the big companies. I mean, they do that already. Shamelessly, TikTok came up. Now we have IG Reels. Now we got YouTube Shorts, okay? And now, the beauty about this is that you're not capped by your time. You're not building custom systems for every client. You're using the same core system every single time with little tweaks. Because the main hurdle of scale that I noticed with most generic automation agencies or like AI agencies is those damn custom builds. You simply can't scale if you can't repackage the same thing. Ray Kroc, owner of McDonald's, understood this. He didn't become rich because he made the best burgers. He became rich because he made the same burger the same way in every location, because consistency creates scale. So we can apply the same thing. When you have one system that works for multiple clients, you're like a factory. Same inputs, predictable outputs, repeatable processes. You can train someone to run the McDonald's system in like a week. McDonald's workers get so good at flipping burgers very quickly. Now try training someone to be a custom software developer, right? That takes like experience and deep technical knowledge. So the moment you start customizing everything for each client, you've capped your growth at your personal bandwidth. But when you standardize the core system and only customize the targeting and messaging, suddenly one person can serve 10 clients as easily as just one client. So standardization isn't limiting creativity, it's creating freedom to focus on what actually matters, which is results. The second is you're not capped with hiring. You don't need a team. You don't need like a project manager. It's you plus systems, which makes you an operator running a profitable operation. The third thing is, speaking of operations, is that you're not really capped by operations in reality. Once the system is running, it's just optimizing. You're not in the weeds delivering every day. You actually get to live your life. That's the difference. Usually freelancers trade time for money. Agencies trade team capacity for money. Connectors trade leverage for money. Now you might be thinking, Saad, what is leverage? Well, Naval Ravikant explains this perfectly. Leverage is a force multiplier for your judgment. The most important forms of leverage are the ones that have no marginal cost of replication, code, and media. So this sounds a little bit complicated. He's a very smart guy. What Naval means is leverage lets you get bigger results without working more hours. The best types of leverage are things you build once that can work for you and over and over and over again without extra effort. So that's the simple explanation. Think about it like this. If you write code for like a software app, like you can serve one user or 1 million users, same code, no extra work, right? So that's leverage. Now, obviously there's like infra upgrades and stuff, but that's like a decisive point, okay? Now in the connection model, your leverage is the system you build once that works for multiple clients. Every new client doesn't require rebuilding the system. It requires replicating what already works. And I believe he also says you want to be wealthy, not rich. Rich is having money. Wealthy is having assets that earn money while you sleep. So your connection system becomes that asset in a sense. It's generating introductions, creating value for clients, whether you're actively working or not. Okay? And the beautiful part about leverage is that it compounds. Your first client helps you refine the system. Your second client benefits from those improvements. Your 10th client gets a system that's been battle tested and optimized through hundreds of iterations. Okay? Now, obviously there are multiple moving parts inside this. You need to understand targeting, not just finding companies, but finding companies showing active buying signals. Like there's like multiple sophisticated systems, positioning, how to frame introductions, etc. There's also the technical infrastructure, which tools to use. Then there's also like the business side, pricing models that create long-term relationships, how to handle difficult clients, when to fire prospects, how to structure contracts so you get paid consistently, a bunch of things. But I would say the psychology is like half the pie. Understanding buyer behavior in different industries, knowing how to read signals that indicate real purchase and intent versus just curiosity, learning to position yourself as a strategic partner rather than just another vendor, but we'll tackle that in like other videos. So let me just give you a recap. You're bringing two parties together who need each other but haven't found each other yet. You use your own infrastructure for everything, which creates incredible scale effects. The more clients you add, the more profitable your system becomes. So you're trading leverage for money instead of time or team capacity, which means you can scale without being capped by hours or hiring. Okay? So hopefully you guys found value in this one. So that's the connection model in action. And like I always say, get out there, take action. I believe in you, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.